Ruto's regime is curtailing the fight against corruption as that fight has remained futile ever since they took period, and Kenyans are seeing the topmost leadership with the president as a person who is actually propagating corruption at its peak. This is a confirmation by the Katiani MP, that is Robert Mbui, who associates corruption with Ruto, and referring back to the Western Hotel case, whereby they wanted to expand it by grabbing some land in Langata, and by then William Ruto was trying to associate himself from the Western Hotel, which later on he accepted he was holding lots of shares in it. Let us listen to the MP for Katiani as he peddles these allegations.
If you want to slay the dragon of corruption, you have to start at the top. The person in office has to be the one exemplifying that fight. And you know what we've been getting from this regime is lip service. I don't want to enumerate the number of situations where His Excellency the President himself has been named, in scandals that involve corruption. From the time he was Minister for Agriculture to the period when he was the Deputy President and was attempting to grab land belonging to Langata Primary School. So at the top, if the person at the top is not clean, then unfortunately the system gets... Were those allegations
ever confirmed?
He did confirm them himself on national TV. For a long time, he kept saying that he had no connection with the hotel next to Langata Primary. But one time on national TV, he confirmed that that was his hotel. He's actually a part owner of that hotel. And that was the management that was attempting to grab the land of Langata Primary School. It's in public domain. Our children were tear gassed and beaten up by police in attempt to grab that land. So I'm just saying that when it comes to the fight against corruption, it must start at the very top. When Kibaki was there, there was an attempt, because people felt the president, Kibaki then, and his deputy, his vice president, Kalonzo Musyoka, people felt that these are clean people, and so they felt that it was possible to fight corruption together.
Nairobi Senator Sifuna has deconstructed the president's speech on the state of the nation, confirming that he is a lying president with lots of inconsistencies in his speech. Let us listen in to how Sifuna argues his point.
But I personally do not trust the current president to paint the true picture of the speaker. Because of that doubt in my mind, I chose not to attend the State of the Nation. Honorable Speaker, there is usually a disconnect when you listen to the president from his words, between his words and the actions of his government. And some of us have come to doubt whether really the things that he says he actually believes. Honorable Speaker, let me start by something that would sound like sweet music to the ears of somebody like me who believes in democracy. At paragraph 53 of the President's speech, Honorable Speaker, the President, and I wanted to read this verbatim, said, "We are a democracy, and that democracy is a hard-won, non-negotiable right and guarantees freedom that we are proud of and must always defend. That our national democratic culture expresses itself energetically through robust discourse, boldly speaking truth to power, and holding leadership to account. It is a tradition of fearless expression and vigorous public participation. This is who we are, and there is nothing anyone can do about it." That is where I want to begin. The President could as well have been describing me. We are who we are. We believe in this democracy, we'll fight for it, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The question in my mind is whether the President actually believes in the words that he spoke. Honorable Speaker, if you go to another thing that he said that sounded like music to ears of the people who actually believe in democracy and participation of the people, he said that he had learned through the hard as well as customary ways that listening is a full-time occupation of leadership, and that all questions asked by the people must be answered thoroughly and in full. The question we ask ourselves is whether he actually believes the words that came out of his mouth, that he is a listening president, number one, and that all questions asked by the people have been answered by his administration thoroughly and in full. And I want to make the quickest example here. Over the past year, following the protests that we've seen in this country, there are families still asking questions of this government. They're asking questions about what happened to their loved ones. They're asking questions about people who have been missing for a long time. And even in this particular speech, the president never provided any answers. Honorable Speaker, you go to paragraph 6, he says he desired to respond to the most pressing concerns that have been raised by Kenyans of all walks of life, Kenyans. And again, the question becomes, after framing those things and elaborating them very clearly, did he even, in his own speech, respond to the things that he had said were the most pressing concerns of Kenyans from all walks of life?
Okiya Omtata's presidential ambition has come to pass as he now responds to those who claims that he doesn't have enough finances to fund his presidential campaign. And this is the response that he gives to the critics.
And already there are indications that the Kenyans are going to do whatever they will do in their small spaces to make sure that this change happens. So the question of money is the least problem we have. And I saw somewhere somebody saying we require 27 billion shillings. I don't know how the mathematics was worked out, but we'd want to know where the 7 billion shillings comes from. Because if an individual can raise 7 billion shillings to put in a campaign, then something is absolutely wrong with this country.
Kia reflects with all of us Gen Z, whatever it is we are fighting for and whatever it is he's been fighting for. So he reflects with our desire and our fight for a better Kenya. And that's what we all resonate with. And I think from the response we've got after he announced the committee, you can tell how well everyone took it.
The CS Interior back in 2023, that was Kithure Kindiki, in October, said that Kenya is not going to use even a dime in the peacekeeping mission or the multinational security operation in Haiti. Later on, it is established that over 2.1 billion has so far been used. And that operation, which began in June, with the first payment made on 18th of September, was to be financed by the United Nations. So we don't know what happened in between, to an extent now that Kenyans is getting into the taxpayers' money to fund the security operation in Haiti. Let us listen in to how Kithure Kindiki did vehemently say and repeated that Kenya is not going to use even a dime in that Haiti operation.
And I want to confirm that Kenya will not spend even 1 shilling for the Haiti mission. I repeat, Kenya will not spend any money in the deployment of our officers in Haiti.
Well, thanks for watching. My name is Ahmed Khali for the Unscripted Talks here in DURB Radio. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press notification button so that anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. If you're watching from our Facebook page, kindly follow our page for regular updates. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, DURB Radio ndio mpango mzima.